Regret is the biggest price to pay. If you see your life through a lens in which everything is fixed and very much the same, you're going to be stuck living in an existence of regret when you can no longer do anything. Every single day, do something that you find challenging. Do I want to overtrain now in harder conditions, or do I want to give up now and then pay the price later?
You actually have to learn how to push yourself. You have to learn how to leverage the power of your decisions, and you've got to learn how to take action when you don't feel like it.
Welcome to the 1 in a Million podcast with me, your host, Millie Cvetkovic. This is your go-to destination for empowering conversations on mastering confidence in both body and mind. Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of the 1 in a Million podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about if you're truly making progress in your different domains of life where you want to be seeing success. Maybe it's a fitness goal, maybe it's a body composition goal, maybe it's even a career focus goal, relationships. Essentially, if there's something that you want to be making progress in, there is one way that you should be feeling to know if you're actually excelling. And if you do not feel this way, then there's no way that you're truly going to be making progress. And so how should you be feeling? Let me give you a little bit of the context as to why I'm recording this, and then you'll be able to understand how the idea of this episode came to my mind. So, a few days ago, I had woke up to do one of my runs. I'm currently running 3 times a week because I have a 10-kilometer race, which is my first ever race, as I only started running thereabouts 6 to 8 months ago. I'd made it throughout my whole fitness journey. I'd competed in bodybuilding competitions and lost all of this unwanted body fat, gone through a huge transformation, and I'd never ran. The only time before that I'd ran was when I was probably 15, 16 years old, either being forced to do it in school, when you show up to your physical education lesson and then they tell you that you need to try and run a 4-minute mile or something ridiculous with the teachers barking at you. So it was horrible times when I was a kid and I was overweight, the fat kid. Or it was when I was a teenager and thought, I need to lose weight. I'm not old enough to get a gym membership. What's the easiest way that I can do that? Let me go run around the block. Although, to be honest, it's not something that lasted very long for me as a teenager because I grew up in a council estate in Milton Keynes. And let me tell you, absolutely terrifying what you see on the corners and the alleyways and the underpasses of a council estate where I grew up. So I decided to set a challenge for myself after I finished competing in bodybuilding last year that I would start running because I truly wanted to understand what the sensation of being a fit person who is able to run and really push their bodies felt like. I felt strong, but I didn't know what it felt like to be fit. So I started to run. And then I thought, I'm going to raise the stakes because with anything in life, if you raise the stakes, you're most certainly going to get more out of whatever effort you're putting in. If you're wanting to build a business, if you invest a ton of your savings into that and your back's up against the wall, trust me, you're going to try and make it work. Or if you invest into another process that you might want to go through, such as your own physical or body transformation, you're going to be more likely to put in the work. So what did I do? I entered myself into a competition and I started documenting my race prep on social media. So if you don't already follow me on Instagram, head over to Millie_teamcbm. It'll be linked in the description box below so that you can go and follow my journey. So I thought, let me start with a 10K because up until 4 or 5 months ago, I had never even ran 10K. I had maybe only done a max of 5 to 6 kilometers. And not only am I wanting to run a 10K, I'm wanting to do this for a relatively fast time. I want to do it under 55 minutes, which to someone who has only recently started running is a pretty reasonable pace. So I'm prepping for this race and I'm doing 3 runs per week. I live in Dubai and it's currently June. The temperatures on average this week are 40 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but I'm going to assume it's well over 100, maybe 110. Not only that, but the humidity on that day that I woke up to do my run was 90%. What does that feel like? It feels like when you step outside that you have walked into a hot steam room. There is no explaining how disgustingly sticky and uncomfortable and hot it is. And just to be clear, I stepped outside at 5:30 a.m. to begin this run. This is not the middle of the day. It is between 35 degrees, 35 to 37 degrees, first thing in the morning. That's before the sun has even risen. And then later on in the day, it gets just like no one goes outside. It's ridiculous. We are living in extreme temperatures here. So I woke up after not the best sleep, tired. It was my third run of the week. And I tried to get my heart rate monitor, which I wear on my chest. It's a chest strap, to connect, but it wouldn't. After trying and trying, it wouldn't work. So I thought, you know what, whatever. I'm going to try and use my Whoop, which I'm wearing right now. I'm going to try and use my Whoop so that I can monitor my heart rate from there. And I think I turned off the Bluetooth and then the Whoop wouldn't connect. And I thought, okay, great. Now I've got to go out for a run. I can't even see when my heart rate is. But I thought, you know what? It needs to get done. It's getting hotter. Time is going on. I have to get this done. And so as I went out and started this run in this most disgusting, horrendous heat, it wasn't just like going for a nice, easy run. It was intervals. So I was doing 400 meters by 10 with 90 seconds rest in between. So that's 400 meters, or the equivalent of about 90 seconds to 2 minutes of running, where you're pushing intense pace. Like we're aiming for like 9 out of 10. And that's in the conditions of a really hot steam room. Unbearable. So I started and I checked what time did I get for my first interval. My watch hadn't recorded it. And I thought, wow. So not only is the weather atrocious today, on the third day of my run, and my heart rate monitors, both of them, wouldn't connect. And now my watch hasn't recorded the first interval of the 10 that I need to do. And I started laughing. I had this moment where I realized the old version of me would have probably cried or would have quit, to be honest. I was very much so hearing that old version of me in the back of my head when my second heart rate monitor wouldn't connect. I was thinking, it's getting late. It's getting hotter. It's already unbearable outside. What's the point if you don't know what your heart rate is? And my don't think, just do mentality came in, and I was like, no, I'm getting outside. I'm doing this. I don't care. And then when the watch didn't record my first interval, I couldn't help but laugh, because I thought, this is life testing me. And it's testing to see how badly does she want it? And is she going to do the work? Because I said this on my Instagram story in between my intervals, panting, because it came to my mind at that moment. I said, in 6 months' time or a year's time, no one will care. The world will not care what circumstances you have lived through. The only thing that will show is if you did the work required to get to where you want to be. Nobody cares. Do the work. In that moment, I knew my fortitude was being tested. And also, I took a moment to just employ some gratitude, because gratitude, oh my goodness, it's one of the most healing things that we have. I looked around. I'm running fast, fitter than I ever have been, with both my legs, perfect health, looking around the most beautiful, futuristic city of Dubai, How lucky I am to be able to do that. How lucky I am to have the problem that my whoop and my polar chest strap wouldn't connect. Because I have these things. And it just puts everything into perspective. But also what that moment taught me was that I am surely and most definitely on the path to success. Because it's hard now. And in life, we can either have things two ways. We can either have them hard now and easy later. Or we can have them easy now and hard later. Which will you choose? And I thought, the temperatures are extreme. The conditions are not fun whatsoever. And just to tell the world that I didn't care what it was throwing at me, I did an extra interval, even though my watch didn't record the first one. So I did 11 in total rather than 10. Because I thought, well, what do I want? Do I want it to feel hard now and then really easy when I fly back to the UK, where there's much cooler temperatures, much easier conditions to run in? Do I want to overtrain now in harder conditions so that it feels like a breeze when I need to do the race? Or do I want to give up now and then pay the price later when I'm doing that race and wishing, man, I should have gone out for that run. I can't believe I missed that run. Regret is the biggest price to pay. And it goes to be said that the thing that people talk about the most on their deathbeds is what they wish they had done that they didn't do. And that is no place to be. Living in an existence of regret when you can no longer do anything. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is how I know I'm making progress. This is not how I know that I'm doing the right thing, because it's hard now, which means it'll be easy later. If I'd sat on the sofa and I didn't go out for that run and it was easy, that was a sure guarantee to myself that it would have been harder later. And embracing discomfort is one of my favorite things after living a life where I was stuck in a victim mentality, thinking, oh, my life is so hard. I've been dealt such a crappy hand of cards. And I thought my life was hard because of my situation. But I was making it harder for myself because I wasn't doing anything to control what I could control. And so as soon as I started seeking discomfort and thinking, right, well, how can I put effort in to get better situation out? You realize that all of the effort that you have to put in is going through a development journey, and the development journey is hard. It never feels easy because discomfort is the essence of growth as an individual. And the science behind it is fascinating. There was a study where they took 200 individuals of different diverse backgrounds, aged between 18 to 65. And they split them randomly into two groups. They got one group just to practice mindfulness meditation. They got the other group to practice mindfulness meditation, but also to do challenging things and to do uncomfortable things. And these things were like public speaking, cold showers, intense physical exercise like HIIT workouts, and just different challenging tasks. And when they put these two groups into the situations where they put them under different psychological tests afterwards and measured their resilience, their coping mechanisms or their coping skills, the group which just practiced mindfulness and meditation were so much less able to deal with the stresses and the hardships of life compared to this other group. This other group, they had way less anxiety. They were able to cope so much better. So actually embracing discomfort alongside practicing mindfulness and having moments of calm builds you into a more tough and gritty person. And so practically, how can we apply that into our lives? Well, seeking discomfort in small doses on a daily basis is incredibly, incredibly beneficial for us. If you are a busy, career-driven woman and you know that your inability to lose the body fat that you want to lose is stopping you from living a confident, successful life, then hear me out. We have just launched our Fat Loss Accelerator program, which is made specifically for women who are constrained for time, yet they want to lose anywhere between 10 to 25 pounds of body weight within 90 days. Throughout this process, we're also going to teach you exactly what you need to know so that you can maintain this result forever. That it's the lifestyle changes and the habits that you need to implement for the rest of your life to finally become that confident and successful woman who excels in all areas of her life. So if you're interested in finding out more about our Fat Loss Accelerator program, then send me a message on Instagram. Send me the words Fat Loss Accelerator. My Instagram is millie@teamcbm. The link is in description below, and I will get back to you with all the information that you need to know. Back to the episode. So every single day, I will do something that challenges my body. Every day. And most days also, I will do something that challenges my mind. So whether it's lifting heavy weights, whether it's really pushing my cardiovascular endurance, whatever it is, I will get that done every single day. Even something as simple as like, for a while I was practicing hand balancing and trying to do different headstands and handstands. The patience and the discipline and the accuracy that you need for that is so challenging, even though on the body it doesn't necessarily feel that intense. I would say that's almost even mentally more challenging than physically. So you build this mental resilience through challenging your body every single day. I think one of my favorite stories of mental resilience and emotional resilience is of Michael Jordan, because as we know him, he's one of the most successful athletes in the world, a very successful businessman now too. And many people will know the story of when he was in his sophomore year, he was cut from the basketball team. And this is almost like the moment that made him, because he used that moment to work harder rather than give up altogether. He spent hours and hours every single day honing his skills, nailing his craft, driven by the determination to prove his worth, that he was good enough. Isn't it amazing what we will do when we're trying to prove to ourselves or to other people that we're good enough? But his work ethic paid off. And every single day, challenging his body, challenging his mind is what led him to become a 6-time NBA champion, 5-time MVP, and literally one of the most celebrated athletes in history. So it goes to show how by striving to seek that discomfort and to constantly look for ways to improve, we set ourselves up for inevitable success. Even the story of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was fired by Apple. And he later came back and completely transformed the company. He led the innovations that revolutionized Apple to be what it is today, because he decided to come back. He could have said no. He was busy creating Pixar and other things, but he decided to come back and to blow them out of the water. So these mindsets of, I'm going to force myself to do drill practice every single day for hours every single day. Or I'm going to go back to a place that rejected me and that ousted me, and I'm going to prove that I freaking can do this and that I am the future of technology. Maybe that's not even what these guys thought, but they just knew that they needed to do more. And that part of doing more was seeking discomfort. So every single day, do something that you find challenging. Could be learning a new language. Could be having a difficult conversation with someone. Could be a new hobby starting from scratch. But ultimately, the person that you are, the other side of that discomfort, is such a stronger person than who you are now. And part of talking about Steve Jobs and Michael Jordan, we spoke about their journeys involving rejection and failure, because I truly think that's part of embracing discomfort too. J.K. Rowling, another impressive person that has changed the world. Harry Potter. Is there anyone who doesn't know who Harry Potter is, that has access to books and media? She was rejected the first 12 times. The first 12 times that she strived to publish the book. Yet she kept showing up. And if she hadn't tried again after that 11th time or the 12th time, we wouldn't have Harry Potter. How crazy is that? She had to be told no, 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 no. She had to be told no over 12 times. And she still kept showing up. And if after no number 6 she quit, there would be no Harry Potter. We wouldn't know of it. I find that crazy. And do you want to know what's even crazier? Light bulbs. The fact that we have light bulbs. Thomas Edison, one of his very famous quotes is, "I have not failed. I have found 10,000 ways that won't work." He failed thousands of times to create a practical electric light bulb. And this man's mindset was every single time it doesn't work, there is the next step to success. And what that is a perfect demonstration of is the growth mindset. Carol Dweck's work is amazing. She talks about this concept of a fixed versus a growth mindset. And I truly know from the first moment that I speak to someone what mindset they're in. It is like I now have this hugely impressive radar for growth versus fixed mindset. Growth mindset is, I'll find a way to make it work. I can learn this. I'll try again. But fixed mindset is, this will never work for me. I don't know how. Whatever reason means that it won't work for me. There is something that I will honestly say, which is throughout the years of transforming hundreds of women at Team CBM, the same methods, the same protocols have applied to hundreds of women, obviously personalized to their needs. However, the ethos of what we're doing has been the same. And I have seen women in the same starting position, sometimes even worse starting position than someone who's got the same goal as them. I have seen women make 10 times faster progress than someone who's either in a more fortunate or very similar position to them with the same goal, because they see mistakes as just a stepping stone to getting to where they want to be. They see it as part of the process, and they're happy when they make a mistake because they're like, oh, okay, I know not to do that next time. Then there's women who every single time they fail or they don't have progress, they think that the process won't work for them. They think they're, some kind of enigma to physics and that the laws of energy balance don't apply to them. Or they think, because this has happened to me, I'll never be able to make it work. Or my head's not in the right place. And ultimately, they have everything that the other person has. They're just not willing to, change the lens, or they don't know how to change the lens through which they're seeing their circumstances as an opportunity rather than as a fixed position that they're going to be in. Because if you see your life through a lens in which everything is fixed and very much so the same, you're going to be stuck. Whereas if you see it through a growth mindset lens of, okay, this is what the situation is, but I can learn from this. I can control these parts. I can seek help here. Like, you're always thinking, how can I climb out of the hole? You're looking around, you're being open-minded. Whereas someone with a fixed mindset, if they fall into a well, they're going to crawl up in the corner and they're just going to say, I knew this would happen to me. I'm destined to be stuck here forever. And they will be. Versus the person with the growth mindset has just been able to see that actually, if they place their foot there, and then if they're able to reach that part, maybe they might slip and fall a few times, but there's a possible way that they can climb out. And you truly are, literally the only difference is what you choose in the way that you choose to see the situation. I find it fascinating. I truly find it fascinating because we all have this ability, as proven through neuroplasticity, the ability to change the way that we think. We all have the ability to choose and to evolve into the growth mindset. Every single person on this planet, every single person can do it. Some might need more support than others, but it's possible. And when you have that growth mindset, you are unstoppable. There's nothing stopping you from moving forwards. Nothing at all. Even your morning coffee, even your favorite Starbucks drink. Do you want to know how you ended up with your Starbucks drink in your hand every morning? Whether it's your almond milk, sugar-free caramel latte, or your whatever frappuccino, which is essentially a milkshake and not coffee. Fight me if you disagree. Howard Schultz, born in Brooklyn. He came from a really poor family and he actually got a scholarship to go to university. And he knew that he could bring coffee bars, what they were considered at that time, around the country and that he could be really successful with it. But after going to banks and investors, they just kept rejecting the idea. They just couldn't see how it would work. Like, why would there be these chains essentially that weren't unique little boutique cafes or coffee shops that were more sophisticated, and that actually people would want a bit of a franchise of like their one-stop shop place to go and grab a coffee, and where coffee could be made a little bit more fun. So he persisted, and he spoke to his friends and family and raised enough money through them to transform Starbucks into the global brand that it is. That is crazy. Had he not believed in his idea and had he just not had the growth mindset of, you know what, I don't care who says no, we're going to make this work. We have to make this work. So my point is, if you want to know whether you're succeeding in whatever area or domain you're looking to progress in, it should feel like it's hard. It should feel like you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And if you fail or you get something wrong, count it as a blessing. And I know it's so much more difficult to say than it is to feel. Let's say if you were to invest money into something and it didn't work out, or if you were to put tons of energy and effort into something and it didn't come to fruition the way that you expected it to. But what is the silver lining? You've learned what doesn't work. You've got another piece of the puzzle of what the possible future success could be. I failed 1,000,000 times and more when it's come to my own fitness journey, my health journey, business, even way before I became the founder and CEO of Team CBM and I worked as a nuclear scientist. Before I got that job as a nuclear scientist, I think I was rejected from like 30 or more jobs that I was applying to. after I'd done my chemistry degree. Like, rejection just became part of the process. I think it's funny how people are trained at call centers because they're trained to be told to expect 100 no's to earn their first yes. They actually make it a positive thing. They say, go out and collect 100 no's. That's your job today. Call 100 people, get 100 no's, and then tomorrow we're going to get 200 no's. Because they are actually seeing that lack of the thing that they want, or the delayed gratification to get there, they're seeing it as a positive. Because if you try hard enough and long enough at anything, it is inevitable that you will succeed. It's the same thing as these people that would dig for gold or try and find diamonds in the rough. You have no idea how many hours and days they spent doing that until they succeeded. 10,000 times Thomas Edison failed until he got a freaking light bulb to work. You know, so if you're failing, if it's not working, really do use that fixed mindset and really do use the growth mindset to allow yourself to be propelled into the future of success. And if you find that things at the moment are feeling too easy, you're doing something wrong. You're not trying hard enough, or you're not moving as fast as you could be. If you've enjoyed this episode, please give it a rating. I would massively appreciate it. Give it a 5-star review, and please leave a comment as well to let me know your thoughts or your favorite story of whichever athlete or entrepreneur in this podcast episode has inspired you to go and fail a few more times. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I will catch you in the next one. Much love.